The live stream today, we welcome you to be a part of our spiritual community. Uh, Relationship is the most interesting part of the four quadrants that people come to me for counseling for. And the interesting thing about relationship is that it is co-creative. We can take responsibility for the money in our lives. We can take responsibility for our own health. We can take responsibility for the jobs that we have. But with relationship, it is totally co-creative. And if we really understood relationship, we would understand that there are actually four people in any given relationship. There's the me that you see, there's the you that you see, there's the me that I see, and the me that you see. So when we're having a conversation with one another, you can understand why some of the things get a little mixed up sometimes. In the chapter on the law of attraction, Ernest Holmes says, everyone automatically attracts to him or herself just what she or he is. And we may set it down that whatever we are, however intolerable the situation may be, we are just where we belong. Oh, yes, again, we should have handed out silver bullets for people to bite on their way in here this morning. Ernest is also very, very clear that there is no power in the universe but ourselves, you and me, that can free us. And there is a certain bondage to having this idea that everybody else needs to change. I'm perfect the way I am. No, I don't have to do anything. But y'all, if you just go out and work on yourselves a little bit, life would be really good for me. Well, it's true that someone might come along to help us on the road to realization. And those are those people that we're challenged by, I got to tell you, but permanent change can only come through the consciousness of our own life and our own thought. I have to do my work on me. We are all surrounded by a thought atmosphere, and this mental atmosphere is the direct result of our conscious and unconscious thought. And again, bite the bullet here. I am totally responsible, whether I'm thinking consciously or unconsciously, for everything that I experience in my life. Carolyn Mace, who is a prolific writer and has written many books over the last 10 years, and she said that if we continue to perpetuate our woundedness, and we enter this entire room of people in that wounded state, we will automatically attract to ourselves the most wounded person in the room. I mean, really, seriously. She says that I can stand on one side of the room and pick out that most wounded person who will identify with exactly what I'm going through. And if I continue to speak from my wounded past, she said that we will perpetuate the same conditions because thought can only attract to us what we first mentally embody. It becomes a part of our mental makeup and our inner understanding. And we become so identified with that wounded person that it becomes who we are. So what do I need to know about this? According to Reverend Jacqueline Edwards from this past week's minister's list, she says, the past has no power when and if I am able to consciously and purposefully examine what is in the past that is driving my present behavior and shift my focus, desires, and prayer work accordingly. Again, it's up to me. If I don't know what it is, whatever structure of knowing I have about my life, how can I dismantle my structure of knowing? I must first see what's driving my present behavior in order for me to do anything about it. Taking that as the starting point, the idea that Ernest Holmes says is the essence of our life is God. It follows, as Ernest says, that we use the same creative process to perpetuate a wounded consciousness as we would a healed consciousness. So which one do I want to experience? I want to experience the healed consciousness. He says our lives will either be a reflection, well, he doesn't say this, but somebody else said it, and I don't know who to give credit for this one, but our lives will either be a reflection of our unhealed past or our spiritual magnificence. I have it backwards up there. I rather think I'd like to have my life a reflection of my spiritual magnificence. Wouldn't you? Okay, give me an amen on that one. Yes, all righty. I know we hear this a lot in our teaching, but if I'm in love with myself and I have a healed relationship with myself, I am congruent in my relationship with God, right? When we truly don't care what anyone thinks of us, we have reached a dangerously awesome level of freedom. Amen. Yes. This is like one of those little pop-up things that comes up on the computer. That the person's name is intelligence. I don't even know how it got there. Somebody must have gifted it to me. But I thought it was appropriate to today's message, right? When we are in relationship with others at every turn in our daily lives, every business, every place, every person, everything has a certain mental atmosphere of its own. And the atmosphere decides what is to be drawn to it. That's the atmosphere. I have a thought atmosphere surrounding me so that my consciousness goes before me when I enter a room. That's the good news and the bad news. If I come into a room crabby, guess which person is going to be attracted to me? The crabby person. If I enter a room joyful and filled with enthusiasm and excitement for the new people that I'm going to meet, guess what shows up for me? Exciting and joyful new people. So, what is in my thinking that continues to draw people into my life who are challenged, maybe by unskilled parents or unloving siblings? Well, what is in my consciousness that continues to draw really wonderful and generous people into my life? That's where we want to go today. In life, it is not either or, it is both and. Yes, sometimes we do experience challenging people in our lives. But if you've ever noticed that there's something deeply subjective within me that is challenged, and so I draw certain people into my experience to help me get to the other side of my challenging experience. It's true. I don't consciously attract really cranky people into my life just for the sake of cranky people in my life. Those people have attracted me into their life to help them get uncranky. That's what the job of every religious scientist is, to be the beacon of light in an otherwise beaconless world. So, if we have not fully looked at our past and the influence our past has over us, we will continue to attract that unhealed part of ourselves. If, on the other hand, we have reconciled all those past issues and dealt with them, dealt with what part we played in them, then we are surrounded by a spiritual magnificence that is a light unto the world. Our relationships will be light, loving, generous, and just totally perfect. John Lennon said it best. It matters not who you love, where you love, why you love, when you love, or how you love. It matters only that you love. And see, that's what we're here to do. We're here to love. And Ernest Holmes says in How to Use the Science of Mind, our only job as religious scientists is to love other people in our experience to their wholeness. Not that sappy, yucky kind of love, but that love that comes from that deep within the soul of who we are. Yes, thank you. I need some help today. The love that is seeking to express in our lives is the love that we have for ourselves. And this is the most important relationship that we will ever have in our lifetime. Our task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within ourselves that we have built against it. Sometimes those barriers show up through our inability to love ourselves and to forgive ourselves for past indiscretions. Sometimes the barriers show up because we're afraid of what other people might be thinking of us. This is one of my favorite sayings. Nothing is real to us unless we make it real. Nothing can touch us. Refuse to have our feelings hurt. Refuse to receive anyone's condemnation. In the independence of our own mentality, believe and feel that we are wonderful. That's earnest. That's earnest talking. We have to believe and feel that we are wonderful. My friend Carol Davis, who is a practitioner at the Palm Desert Church of Religious Science, or Center for Spiritual Living, has a blog, and sometimes she's just so right on with her assessments in life. She says, what you think of me, even if you do, cannot hurt me. However, my thinking about what you might be thinking about me has the potential to devastate me. Isn't that the most ridiculous thing you ever heard? But don't we all do it, or am I just the only one, right? I worry sometimes about what people are thinking about me. And then I realize, wow, I'm thinking those same things about me. You know, I don't ever attract anyone to me with negativity unless I've already thought that same negative thing about myself. How many of us have gone there? How many of us have gone there? This story that I'm about to share illustrates the teeter-tottering back and forth about a rabbi's confoundingly consistent reflections on a marital dispute in a counseling session, which his wife accidentally overheard. Now, he's working with a couple in their home, apparently, and the wife is just kind of on the periphery, listening to the whole counseling session. When the husband had concluded the summary of his discontent to the rabbi reflected for several moments upon the presented case and then remarked, "That's right. That's right. But you haven't heard my side of it," the man's wife said. She protested vehemently that she needed to tell him what she needed to tell him. So she spilled forth her version of the matter in dispute. When she had finished relating her own dual-minded side of the case, the rabbi again remarked, after considerable reflection, "That's right. That's right." Now, the rabbi's wife, who had overheard the contending reports, later observed that the opposing views could not both be right, and she quickly voiced her opinions as to why. Reflecting on his wife's assessment, the rabbi yet again remarked, "That's right. That's right." We do not live in a one-dimensional universe. And again, relationship is never either or. It is totally both and. So it could be right for the man, it could be right for the wife, it could be right for the rabbi, and it could be right for the rabbi's wife who's listening to it. Do we all get that? It's our own perception, our own projection, and whatever the case, whatever the situation, we do not live in a one-dimensional universe. So if you're ever talking about someone else's behavior to me, and I simply say to you, "That's right, that's right," you'll know where I'm coming from. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, "Love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. It is the very reason for our being, and that explains why people should have something or someone to love. If you don't have a dog or a cat or a kid, rent one. Because I gotta tell you, having children in your life, you can love them and love them and love them and still not like their behavior. You can have a dog that is just a miserable dog and love that dog until forever, but the dog's behavior can be just totally inappropriate. So, while we might not see this in terms of our boss, for instance, or the checker at the supermarket, or the surly guy at the post office gets a bad rap, don't you think? Yeah, they do, unfortunately. Every one of the people that we come in contact with is an absolute reflection of how much I love myself. Remember, Rabbi Mark Goffney said, "Do not ever let anyone serve you whose name you do not know." Now I know, like Larry and Linda go to lunch with them, the first thing they're going to do is ask the server his or her name. This is so important. We must know who the people are who serve us. I have an absolutely wonderful story. Years ago, we went to this Korean spa. My daughter and my friend Agneta and I went to this Korean spa. And I had this lovely woman, and I decided I needed to know her name before she did the scrub on me. And I said, "Would you mind telling me your name?" And she said, "No." So I thought, wow, laid down, let her scrub me, and thought, wow, what a cranky person. I used other words, though. And I thought to myself, why wouldn't she want to tell me her name? I couldn't get this. I just couldn't get this. So finally, after the scrub's all over with, they give you a little envelope to put the tip in, right? And I looked at the envelope as we were in the changing room, and it said, I said the woman's name was Han, and Agneta turned the envelope up the other way, and it was N-O-H. The woman's name was No. I spent an hour in judgment of this woman while she was working on me. That is a true story. My daughter's here and she'll attest to that. So many of you have entered into wonderful relationships who serve you because you've taken the time to know their names. The waitress, the waiter, the checker at Vaughn's Market, Ralph, the guy at Target, the guy who makes my sandwich at Rhineland Deli. His name is Kevin. He also works at Trader Joe's. We love running into each other. And these are all people that we're in relationship with on a daily basis. Richard Rohr, who's a Franciscan priest who writes just wonderful things. He said, ask your inner witness where it sees love in this moment. Let your heart's eyes open even wider to see that both you and this small piece of reality are part of the divine reality of love. Rest in the knowing and just say thanks. Just say thanks. You know, the great love that I am now beginning to feel for the world is the love of God. And it is felt by all, and it comes back to me from all. And God said, love your enemy, and I obeyed. I loved myself. Yipes. Yes. So today is the day after Valentine's Day, and I want to perform a ceremony today that I don't think I've done here before, but which I used to do at Granada Hills every Valentine's Day. The only true and real relationship that we have first and foremost is with God. The second most important is the one that we have with ourselves. And so today I am performing a marriage ceremony of sorts. So I want you to indulge me for a minute, put down the things you have on your lap, and just get comfortable in your chair. Close your eyes and put your right hand over your heart. And I want you to repeat after me. I promise to love me.
Promise to love me.
To recognize my divinity.
Recognize my divinity.
To be supportive and understanding.
To be supportive and understanding.
And to give me the highest and best.
Give me the highest and best
of myself at all times.
at all times.
I promise me always.
I promise me always
My own unconditional love.
my own unconditional love.
To give me the right. To always be myself. To share and communicate fully. And completely. To listen to me. To uplift me and inspire me. And to reach out to me in all ways. To be a guiding light and a teacher. And to be unto me always. A loving presence. You may open your eyes. By the authority vested in me by the state of California and the Centers for Spiritual Living, I now pronounce you spiritually married to yourselves. So, yes. From this day forward, I accept this truth, knowing that with God, all things are possible. Will you join me in consciousness, please? And just quickly know with me right here and right now that I do love myself just the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I know that I will always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. Those are song lyrics, and they speak volumes about who and what we are at the level of spirit. There is nothing that we need to change, because the one constant in our lives is that God is all there is. And so today I recognize the God presence in each and every person sitting here in this room. I recognize the love that is God by means of each one of us. And that love is just something so incredibly wonderful that when any one of us walks into the room and someone's eyes light up, that is the love of God being reflected back to us. And so today I know unerringly that at this Center for Spiritual Living, Westlake Village, there is love and love and love abounding. There is such an opportunity for relationship with one another that transcends the mundane, that transcends anything about judgment or condemnation, that moves beyond any kind of he said, she said stuff. I just simply know that this is the right and perfect place for every one of us to do our work, and to do our work with joy and celebration for one another, because I know that through the law of attraction, I have attracted every person that is here into my experience, and every other person here has attracted me into their experience. And so I know today that this is the blessing, that we have come here to do our work, our spiritual work, to find out who God is by means of me. And I know that everyone else here is attracted here because of that very same idea. And so it is from this place today in consciousness that I joyfully receive and give thanks for this opportunity to be here now, to know that the possibility exists for me to be perfectly healed because God has revealed to me those things that I most need to know about myself. As we say together, and so
So it
is.
is.